How's the week been? It was a disappointing result. I wonder how the week's been, how you've handled it as a squad, as a club.
Fine actually. The game, while the scoreline probably didn't reflect the game, in all honesty. We had, I think, 15 minutes of madness. But up until that point, arguably, it was the best we've played all season against a very, very good side. So generally, it was very bizarre. How would I phrase this? We were bitterly pleased, if that makes any kind of sense. So there were so many positives from that game that unfortunately the scoreline would suggest otherwise. But we did really well in the first half, and recognise that it's something we can build on. For certainly the first half, we have to try and address what happened for those 15 minutes of madness, and try and ensure that that doesn't happen again. I think if we'd have come away and that it was a 2-0 defeat, it wouldn't. We wouldn't perhaps be so bitter, or I wouldn't be so bitter, should I say. So yeah, the girls have been really positive. They recognise that they did well in stages, 15 minutes of madness. They've just got to ensure that they stay focused on the next job, which is going to be a very, very big and tough game against Leicester.
Were you as a side perhaps really trying to take them on in that second half? Maybe as high line, or really was it perhaps the optimism from the season perhaps carried it in? Was it that, or was it defensive frailty?
Well, obviously you kind of certainly everybody reflects. I certainly reflect. Half time was I too positive? Not positive. What was it? You ask the players. How they. It was just. I think the own goal kind of really rocked us because we were playing so well and it was very early. But that's the nature of the game. It's so unpredictable. But you have to manage those moments and manage those situations. Bring a bit of calm to the situation. And we just capitulated for 15 minutes and then started to find our way again. But obviously when you're 4-0 down, it's too late, isn't it?
I imagine your experience has been invaluable this week. Perhaps you've, as you said, been able to just put it in perspective for them. There's some young players in that squad. It's all a little bit new perhaps to some of them. Have you been able to put it in a seasonal perspective?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think, Man City this result will definitely not define our season or who we are or what we're trying to achieve. We understand the level that they are at. A bit frightening when you're 6-0 down and they make 5 substitutions that equally, if not better than the ones that have come off. But that's what we're up against, and that's what we have to compete against. But I think the recognition of knowing and feeling that you've done well is really, really important. It's just making sure that those mistakes are ironed out. You do a better response to that. And so it's about me just trying to. It wasn't about. I didn't have to give confidence. I didn't have to reassure. They recognised it themselves. It's just that 6-0 sounds like we got battered, which actually we didn't. It's very bizarre. You talk about defining results. In a way, the Leicester win in the first half of the season defined that part of your season, wasn't it? You hung on and got a brilliant win in the end with a great goal. That's what you want to see, I guess, in the second half of the season, and especially away at Leicester this weekend. It's that sort of grit and turn these results around a little bit. Yeah, I think we want to. Number one, we want to perform. Generally, if you perform, you get good results. If you perform with some consistency, you pick up more points, you grow in confidence, etc., etc., etc. I think we firmly recognise that we're in a better position this time of the year than we were last year. So that's a positive. And it is literally you've got to go from one game to the next very, very quickly, and you've got to shift your mindset and your focus to do the next job. And that next job is Leicester on Sunday.
Significant for both clubs, I'd say. They've dropped to the bottom, and you haven't won for a while. I guess significant for both teams, Hope. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, but I would argue every game's significant. But yes, this is a big game. I think they would have targeted us. They played last night and rested arguably some of the players we consider will play on Sunday. Sensible, we would do the same. They are, again, bottom of the league. They perhaps didn't expect Birmingham to win. There's more pressure on them than there is on us. But we've got our own internal pressures because we want to do well and we want to win the game. So that in itself is pressure. The expectation is arguably Brighton should win the game. That is pressure. But anybody that knows the game and understands the game, there is absolutely no guarantee. I think Birmingham were a good example of that at the weekend.